Hello, and welcome back to What We Pod in the Shadows, where we are currently discussing Season 4 of What We Do in the Shadows. I'm Raven.
And I'm Alison.
This week's episode is the night market. But before we get into our discussion, just a reminder to hit those follow/subscribe buttons and leave us a comment or a review if you haven't already. It would really help us to get out there to more people if we got more feedback, and we might read your review on the pod even.
And if you like this podcast and you'd like to hear more from us, don't forget to check out our other podcast, Mojo Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, where we are rewatching the classic Powerpuff Girls and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And we are currently on part 2 of Stardust Crusaders.
Sometimes we even talk about vampires on there too.
Yeah, that one's got 2 animated shows, so it's a little bit of a different genre that we're discussing. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Season 4, Episode 4, The Night Market. Nadja's nightclub is booming because of their performer, Colin Robinson. But there are problems with the Wraith employees. 5 patrons have died so far, but only 1 was a vampire. The guide says it's because of their treatment and that they just have a supply closet to sleep in. Nadja is furious. The guide says to listen to their concerns, and once Nadja realizes they've organized, she says to kill all of them. Laszlo plays piano while Colin performs. I think he's practicing there. But Colin says he can't remember the words and is tired. Laszlo knows he's hiding a book, so Colin pulls a book of fairy tales out of the back of his pants, which Laszlo says is largely inaccurate. The guide brings the Wraith leader Xerxes to see Nadja to negotiate. He asks for a break every day so they can, I think he said, haunt their transgressors, something like that.
Something along those lines.
They don't want blamed. And also they don't want blamed for phantom smells. Nadja gets impatient at this, stops negotiations, and walks in on Laszlo reading history, but he wants to hear a fairy tale. And I feel like that doesn't make sense there. Nadja gets impatient at this and stops negotiations and walks in on Laszlo reading history, but I think it should be Colin wants to hear a fairy tale.
Yeah, that sounds right.
He tells Colin what the elves and the shoemaker was likely about, which is that the shoemaker was off his rocker from breathing in the formaldehyde that's used to make leather and hallucinated the elves.
So while this is happening, Nadja rifles through the books and she finds one and decides they should all go to the night market, both so she can find something to barter for with the wraiths and so Colin can see the reality of the supernatural. Nandor likens the night market to Little Italy because both are small communities where you can pick up fun tchotchkes. Marwa wants to go to the night market with Nandor and co, but realizes that this would be a good opportunity for Nandor to get out of the house with his friends and changes her mind. Nandor does nothing to dissuade her of this. They access the night market via the subway. There's a special car to get there. And in there is this guy whose job is basically just to, scare off all the regular humans. And he does this by, farting into a microphone or something. So people are like, what are you doing? And they're too weirded out to continue.
They don't want to be involved in farting.
Yes. Nadja says that the night market is a great place for all humankind, but unfortunately none of them use the same currency, so you have to barter to get what you want. Nadja barters with some Valkyries, who she thinks are very boring, with a vase from Nandor's room.
I was going to say that, I don't know, Guillermo wanted to come along, but he's a human, but then Nandor said something like that he resembles an orc.
Yeah, I totally forgot to write that down.
Laszlo finds a dumpster and shows Colin some real fairies. A demon-looking guy stops Guillermo thinking he is human. He declares he's an orc, and the guy sniffs him and believes him. Nandor and Guillermo come across familiar fighting where the loser gets their head ripped off. Nandor says Guillermo can beat any of those familiars, and someone yells that to the crowd. Everyone laughs and boos. Guillermo says he won't do it, but by them insulting Guillermo, it insults Nandor, so Guillermo has to fight. Nadja trades the base for some of the Valkyries. I guess they're tiny meatballs.
Yeah.
I wrote that they also sell furniture, so they sell tiny meatballs and furniture. She trades the tiny meatballs to the imps because they like tiny food. From the imps, she got a t-shirt that says, "If you can read this, the bitch fell off." Guillermo defeats a familiar by dodging, and the familiar knocks himself out.
Laszlo says that adults tell kids fairy tales because sometimes the truth is extremely boring. Apparently, a Pinocchio is actually a creature with a medical condition, and garden gnomes are real but freeze up and turn into statues as a defense mechanism. Guillermo dodges the other familiar's attacks, wanting to talk it out with him instead. This other familiar is a smoker with asthma, and the fight makes him have an asthma attack, which is what ultimately kills him. Nadja says the night market goes on forever. She goes to a long-eared demon's pawn shop to trade him the misogynistic biker shirt for something more valuable. He is reluctant to trade it first until he reads the joke on the shirt and thinks it's funny. And then he gives Nadja a box. We don't know what's in the box just yet.
Okay, so the asthma guy died because the MC dude broke his neck.
Yes.
Okay.
But he wouldn't have died if he hadn't have started smoking instead.
And Nadja does get 3 vials in the box or whatever. Yeah. We don't know what 3 vials are, but Guillermo defeats a little old lady familiar by taking her glasses. Guillermo is declared the champion and given a bag of dog food as a prize. But then the main event is announced, which would have Guillermo facing the champion vampire, Gorgo the murderer. Nandor grabs the microphone and says it's not fair for Guillermo to fight Gorgo, but that Nandor should fight Guillermo. The crowd shouts, "Kill your friend! Kill your friend!" Nandor's plan is to knock Guillermo out and carry him away. Guillermo posits they should put on a show. Guillermo reminds him of last time they fought, and Nandor says, "Bring it on."
Guillermo then, pulls his wooden stakes out, which pisses off Nandor. Guillermo kills an audience member with a flying stake, which Nandor says is rude. I guess both because he had stakes and because he killed someone. And Guillermo busts out, I think, a staff or a pipe or something. And the MC basically says he's wielding it like Darth Maul. Nandor throws Guillermo into the side of a van, but Guillermo gets up and runs up some stairs with Nandor on his tail. They find swords because there's a blacksmith up there for some reason and parry each other's attacks. They do accidentally kill the blacksmith. However, they move and keep fighting, but now Guillermo isn't sure if Nandor's faking anymore.
Okay, so Nandor's really pissed off. Guillermo says he didn't want to fight in the first place. Guillermo falls over a railing down into, I don't know if it's a trailer or a train car. Nandor prematurely declares himself the winner. "I killed my friend!" But Guillermo comes out of the door with a shovel, breaks it in half, and goes in for the kill as if to stake Nandor. Nandor tells him to do it because he should be able to kill his familiar. But Guillermo says he will let him win. So Nandor does a backflip and pretends to snap Guillermo's neck, and then holds Guillermo above his head.
Nadja has her jewelry box full of vials now after she's left the night market. She convinces the guide that the jewelry box is a gift for her to keep her brooches in, and the vials are filled with water lily of the Nile, a medical flower said to help with the pain of being a wraith. Xerxes the Wraith accepts the gift as a bribe to tell the other wraiths to accept Nadja's terms. The other wraiths are pissed at Xerxes for rolling over so easily, and they kill and eat him. The wraiths accept Nadja's new deal, however, when she offers them a day off and 5 new broom closets to sleep in. Laszlo tucks Colin in for the night. Colin has become disenchanted with fairy tales and wants Laszlo to read him a real story, which turns out to be from Truman Capote's In Cold Blood.
Not a children's book.
It's true crime, basically. I mean, I guess I technically got into true crime as a child, but I would not purposefully, read a kid true crime. Or if I did, I'd start with something non-murdery, like a heist or something, like D.B. Cooper.
I feel like we go into so much detail, like it kind of makes sometimes the show not fun.
Yeah.
But this was like probably one of the better episodes ever. There was a lot of fun stuff happening, just a lot of creatures they introduced. So I liked Nadja's storyline and I liked Colin and Laszlo's. I didn't really like Nandor and Guillermo fighting each other or killing other familiars and stuff.
Yeah.
It just kind of went on a little too long for me.
I think the night market is cool as hell. It reminds me of, I think it's the Troll Market in Hellboy 2. So I don't know if the What We Do in the Shadows writers were inspired by Hellboy 2, or if this is some other fairy tale or what have you, but it's neat either way.
I suppose it's kind of like the black market or whatever, and maybe there might be dog fighting or rooster fighting or something. So instead, they're doing familiar fights. I don't know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't enjoy the dog or the rooster fighting either. So
I don't like Guillermo unnecessarily being put in dangerous situations just for Nandor's ego, basically. Just out of this, please.
I mean, I'm just not sure why any of the vampires would want to do that to their familiars. I mean, It seems like it's difficult to find someone that's good at it and reliable and stuff. So, I mean, I guess if you didn't like your familiar, you're trying to get rid of them, that might be a way to do it, but...
Yeah, I guess.
But I don't understand it otherwise. I'm not sure. Laszlo not liking some of the stuff that Colin is into. He seems like he would be someone who would be into the theater or something.
Absolutely.
There's other aspects, him and Nadja performing songs and just even the way they dress. I just don't understand. I mean, fairy tales have been around for a long time.
Yeah. I guess I don't get why he felt the need to basically just piss on Colin's interests by showing him how the real world works or whatever. He can just have fun reading his stories, and you don't need to be a dick about it. I think he thinks he can make Colin less boring this time around, but he doesn't know what made Colin boring in the first place. And also, if you're just constantly shutting down people and their interests, you might make them a boring shell of themselves.
I mean, I feel like there's a time and a place for both, fiction and nonfiction.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything wrong with fiction. I mean, it wasn't terrible to show him the real, fairies and garden gnomes and stuff as they kind of came across them in the night market. So, the whole point of them going there was because Nadja was looking for something for how to deal with the wraiths. And while I enjoyed them going to the night market, I'm just why didn't she just give them better working conditions instead of going through all of that, because she went through all of that and then the plan was basically ruined because Xerxes was killed.
Yeah.
I know she didn't realize that's what was going to occur, but
yeah, I don't think she understands, like, how to be a good leader, I guess. Like, she just thinks everyone needs to listen to her because she's in charge.
oh no, her first instinct is just to kill.
Yes.
And like at the beginning, it's like Colin, I think he's already kind of getting squirrely about performing and like not wanting to practice. And I mean, like he is just like a little kid. Maybe they could have just taken a break and let him get a snack and like read from his book. Like, what's it really gonna hurt?
Yeah, but I guess also, like, that I'm not quite sure how old baby Colin is at this point, but like little kids go through like phases, in and out of phases of stuff they're interested in, like all the time. So like, of course he's not gonna like make them money forever, but like,
Yeah, like maybe he doesn't want to do that so much anymore.
yeah. But also let him broaden his horizons and have other interests also. Like, not just money making ones.
I don't know that so far that they've shown that he's drawing energy from them.
No, not thus far.
Like, so, I mean, at this point, he's just basically like a human child. So, like, I mean, yeah, they sleep during the day, but I mean, like, they kind of have to think about that he's a human
Yeah.
and might need naps and eat, and like, he doesn't have like their vampire stamina.
Yeah. They are all very bad at remembering what it was like to be a human, so I guess maybe they don't specifically remember what it was like to be a kid. But then also, like, Lasso and Nanja, as far as I know, never had, like, kids while they were humans. And the only one there who has is Nandor. And he's, like, I mean, he doesn't have to be interested, I guess, but, like, he's doing his own thing.
I'm not sure he was interested in his own kids anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, they could just like drop Colin off somewhere and left him at a fire station or police department or something and not been involved in raising him. I'm not saying that they should have, but that they could have if they didn't want to raise a kid. So they kind of did decide to do that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Or Laszlo wants to anyway.
I guess we're gonna end our discussion here. Tune in next week when we discuss the episode Private School. So you might want to watch the episode of the show before you listen to us, like, discuss it and spoil everything for you. And just again, a reminder to, if you haven't already, to follow/subscribe to the podcast and to leave us a comment or a review.
Push all those buttons for us and share with your friends.
Yeah, help us get out there to more listeners. So until next time, remember, you're dead and out of this world. Goodbye.
Goodbye.